I 30F am sitting in the back of my RV as my husband 32M rants about how lovely the trip would be if I hadn't joined him. This might be confusing, but I will try my best to be clear. I'm typing this on my tablet, so please forgive me for any spelling grammar mistakes. Just to note, this is the first time that an issue like this has come up in our marriage, and I do not know what to do. I have been writing romance novels since I was in college. I was a relatively successful author and I have made a living off selling my novels ever since. I do not make a lot of money, but I do bring home $40,000 a year in book sales. This allows me to stay at home during the day so I can write and also make crafts to sell in my Etsy shop. A few years after college, I met Tim and we instantly hit it off. We dated for 3 years before tying the knot and we bought a house shortly after. Tim makes his living off his investments and stocks, however, we keep our finances separate. This is because Tim inherited a vast amount of money from his family, and before we married, I signed a prenup agreement in order to ease his mind. We both contribute an equal share to the joint bank account for bills, then we use the remainder of our money for ourselves. About a year ago I landed a contract to write part of a romance series. The contract was huge and the payout was over $120,000 for a few months' work. I contributed my share to the joint account and then put the rest of the money into the bank so I could buy an RV. I have always wanted an RV because I love to travel and nothing would make me happier than being able to write while on the road. Tim is often away on business for days at a time, so the RV would give me an opportunity to get out of the house while he is away. After 6 months of deciding, I chose a lightly used RV and purchased it from the owners for a great price. When Tim found out I purchased the RV, he was excited. He has a travel trailer, but it's not the same as an all-in-one RV. He loves RVs and he wanted to immediately take it out for a trip across the state. We took our trip and Tim couldn't stop talking about how much he enjoyed the experience, and he started talking about taking more trips together. I gently reminded him that even though the RV is a fun thing for us to have for vacations, that its main purpose is for me to have something to do while he is away for business, but that we would be taking plenty of vacations together. Tim agreed with me and he let it go for a while. The thing is, in the past few weeks, Tim has been badgering me about taking the RV with him on his business trips. He usually flies when he goes to check his rental properties, visit family, and he is normally gone for 4 or 5 days at a time. We got into an argument because he had to evict a tenant and he wanted to drive the RV across the state in order to do so. I asked him if I could come along, and Tim said he would prefer if I didn't. I then said that if I couldn't come with him, that he couldn't take my RV. I suggested that he take his travel trailer instead, and he got mad and stormed out of the house. About an hour later, he started texting me like nothing had happened, and then he said he was taking the RV as if our previous conversation had never happened. I called him and tried to explain that he had just purchased a brand new pickup, and that if I didn't get to drive his new truck in his absence, why should he get to take my RV when I am not coming on the trip? Tim and I went back and forth, and eventually he said I could come along if it meant that much to me. I said I would, and now I am regretting everything. I am sitting in the back of my own RV with the man who won't let me touch the wheel. It has been 3 days since this trip has started, and all Tim has done is rant about how awesome the RV trip would be if I weren't with him. It has made me question everything in our marriage, from how we split our finances to how we argue and function together. This is the first time that anything like this has ever happened, and I don't know what to do in this situation. He is still ranting as I type this, and he's never done that before either. Edit. Hey guys, I've read all of your messages and I've got limited internet right now. A few of you were concerned for my safety, and I just wanted to let you all know I'm fine. I plan on confronting him later today. Update: I 30F am sitting in the back of my RV as my husband 32M rants about how lovely the trip would be if I hadn't joined him. My first post is here. The TLDR of the first post is that I bought an RV with my money so I could write travel in it while husband is away for business. Husband insisted on taking the RV with him without me. I convinced him to let me come. Now he is ranting about how he doesn't want me on the trip while I sit in the back of the RV hating my life. I promised I would update, but things got very hectic and this is the first chance I have gotten. This whole situation makes me very emotional, so please forgive me if this post is not as coherent as I would like it to be. When I posted my first post, we were on the road in the RV and my husband was giving me the cold shoulder while he bitched at me from the driver's seat. You all had some great advice for me about what I should do, and I listened to a few people who suggested that he might be cheating on me. Tim had left his iPad in the back of the RV to charge while he drove. I'm not proud of this, but I was able to sneak his iPad into the bedroom while he was distracted by the road. He was logged into his email account and I quickly skimmed over his inbox but didn't find anything suspicious. I then had the idea to check his sent folder and found out that he had been chatting up his ex from college. It made me sick to my stomach to read the messages, but luckily they had not yet been physical. Translated from ChatSpeak, the message he had sent his ex was basically, "I can't wait to get my hands on you." It's been years since I felt that mouth. I'm excited. I was disgusted, but I tried to keep calm. We were on the road headed to another state and we planned on stopping at his mother's house. I knew that if his messages were in the sent folder, that meant that he had deleted them. Tim was not planning on being caught and was trying to hide his tracks. He wanted my RV so that he could take his ex around the state and have fun without leaving a credit card trace. I took photos of the emails and sent them to myself in order to preserve the evidence. I then went back to the front of the RV and acted as if everything was fine. I apologized, don't worry. I lied for how I had acted and suggested that we ask his mom to help us work through this. Tim said that he was sorry and that he accepted my apology. He said he was looking forward to using the RV in the future and that he was glad I had come to see reason. I smiled and nodded, but on the inside I was cursing his existence. We made it to his mom's house and I made up an excuse about having to change because my clothes were wrinkled. Tim went inside without me and I started throwing all of his clothes and belongings into a trash bag. I then went inside the house and Tim was sitting with his mom in the kitchen. He asked me what I was doing with the bag and I told him that I was giving him his clothes so that I could leave. Tim then got angry and asked me what the duck was I doing, and his mom was simply confused. She asked me what was going on and I told her, "I'm not sure myself." I'm waiting for Tim to explain why he was planning to cheat on me with his ex. Tim's mom then started to cry and yell at Tim while he tried to calm her down. I know Reddit does not have a lot of love for religion, but Tim's mother is a fundamentalist. She had loved me from the minute Tim introduced me to her, and it would be an understatement to say that she was very upset with her adulterous son. Tim never tried to apologize to me. Instead, he chased after his mother, saying he was sorry to her. This made her cry harder, because she knew that he wasn't even trying to make amends with me, he was just apologizing to her. She hugged me and told me to just go home and she would handle her son. I thanked her and took the RV keys from Tim. This ended up being a minor wrestling match and left. I drove home crying, but at least I got rid of my Cheel ex-husband. Tim called me the next day and begged me to come back to him. He said it was all a mistake, that he was sorry. I asked him why he didn't apologize at his mother's house, why he didn't say he was sorry when I was handing him his bag. I told him that he didn't care about cheating on me, that all he cared about was how bad it made him look to his family. He tried to explain himself, but I cut him off and hung up. I blocked him on all social media and haven't heard anything since. I have gotten a lawyer and have already started the divorce process. Story 2, my mom 44 is cheating on my dad 47, and I don't know should I tell him. Hi everyone. I don't want to brag you with too much details, so I'll shorten it as much possible. One night, when my family and I were heading back to our house our car, my dad accidentally read a suspicious text from my mom's phone. When we got back home, my mom begged me to confirm her story that the text my dad read is text from my boyfriend that's directed to me because my phone battery died. I agreed, but with one condition: to stop texting him. At that time I didn't know that she didn't just text him but actually dated him, and probably still does, because she had sworn to me that nothing else is going on but texts. After I helped her, our relationship has begun to fall down. She'd always insult me in front of everybody, telling me that I was just a mistake, telling her side of family that I'm just like my dad's sister, that I have no manners and that I'll never succeed in life, etc. I was really hurt by that but couldn't do nothing about it. Today a friend of my dad's confronted him and told him about my mom's affair, but she denies it. What to do? I'll worsen up my relationship with my mom that is already destroyed, even though I don't have a clue why. I'll break up their marriage and my dad will be devastated, but I feel like I'm letting him down. I love my mom and dad and I'm miserable that such burden is placed on me and I don't know what to do. Sorry about my grammatic mistakes, English isn't my native language. Please don't say my mom doesn't love me or etc. I'm sure she does. We have moments where she behaves nice to me and tells me that I'm well-mannered and nice, but most of the time she doesn't. I'm their firstborn and they got married because of me. I was made accidentally, so maybe she just has a hard time considering the fact that everything started me. She's my mom and I'm sure she in the depth of her heart loves me, just doesn't show it up often like she does my brothers. Story 3. I 41F cheated on my partner 43 meters previously and I thought we were over it, but he just broke up with me because I have decided to get my degree. I'm so confused and looking for advice on what steps I can take to fix this. I was with John for 8 years. I always knew he was very into me and I loved that, but I was always a bit of a player. I know this makes me sound like a crappy person, but I'm trying to be honest. I did not respect our relationship the way I should have and I did a lot of stupid things that caused damage. I cheated on him, meaning I went to a work party and afterwards made out with my coworker and he found out. But I was scared that he'd leave, so I lied. But he found out the truth eventually anyway, and that really damaged the trust. He responded to the betrayal by pulling away a lot in some ways and becoming controlling in other ways. Neither helped at all. He caught me in a couple of other stupid situations texting other guys, and I did actually cheat on him. One night stand when he and I had a huge fight and he left for a few days to cool off. I was furious that he'd walked out and hooked up with a guy he'd been a bit suspicious about previously. Anyway, that was all several years ago and a lot has happened since then. Lots of talking, therapy, changed jobs, etc. I've stopped drinking completely. I don't go out to parties with friends anymore. I've become a homebody and I like it. Recently the stars aligned and I am now able to pursue my degree, which I was working on years ago but did not finish. It will mean a lot of hard work for the next 3 years, juggling school and working part-time. I actually have enough in savings that this will work out fine. John was very happy for me. And then he broke up with me. He said he just can't handle the insecurity he'll feel when I'm in school for the next several years, and he doesn't want to drag me down, and he doesn't want the triggers of the past to ruin things. I don't accept this. I will not cheat again. I have a newfound respect for our relationship. I know I'll never cheat again, and just being in a school environment working closely with classmates won't prompt me to cheat. He says he doesn't know if it will or not, but he isn't comfortable living with the insecurity. I told him anyone he's with could potentially cheat on him, and he agrees, but he says the odds are higher that I will relapse since I've cheated multiple times in our relationship. I accept the blame for that. But what can I do to fix this? I won't cheat again and I love him and want this relationship. Please help. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, you're a serial cheater. He is right thinking that, just move on and let him go. Op answer, I was. But I got a lot of therapy and I think I have enough self-awareness to realize why. It wasn't him, it was always me. It was because I wasn't happy with myself, always felt insecure. And I didn't feel secure in my relationship with him, mostly due to my actions, but also because of how he'd react, threatening to leave, etc. Now, I am so happy and content with myself knowing I can finally finish my degree. I finally have the ability to do so. And I truly 100% know that if we are together, get married, which is what I've proposed, I will never again cheat. Even with temptation, I won't cheat. Serial cheaters can change, and I know I have. Redditor 2, he broke up with you. There is nothing to do, it's over. If you love him, respect his choices. It makes sense to me. He has come to trust you, but only when you aren't out interacting with other people. School will be a lot of interacting with other people, late nights, unclear timelines. And he simply doesn't trust you that far. And he would rather break up now than to drag his heart through the insecurities that you going to school will be for him. Redditor 3, you don't get to decide if you accept a breakup. Whether you accept it or not, he has broken up with you. Sorry. Take care of yourself. Redditor 4, 41 is a bit old to finally learn that actions have consequences. Redditor follow-up, isn't that what happens when you are 30-40 and have responsibility of a 10-year-old child? Once the reality hits, it hits like an 18-wheeler. Redditor 5, but what can I do to fix this? Go to school and don't betray your next partner. Op answer, I absolutely won't betray anyone again. I know this. But I'm in love with him and I want to be with him. I'm just trying to figure out how to convince him I won't betray him. What am I supposed to do to show him he can trust me? Redditor 6, you gave up going out and became a homebody because of your past cheating. You seem to understand those are your triggers. So why are you surprised he suspects she'll cheat again? Redditor follow-up, she thinks that when she tells him she won't do that, he's supposed to believe her even though her whole history is a lying and cheating. It doesn't work that way.